Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? It's John, Gamester81. In this video, I want to take a closer look at a new NES game just came out called Haunted Halloween 86. This is a follow-up and sequel to Haunted Halloween 85, which I reviewed last year. Really fun game. I want to say a big thank you to Tim, who sent me this copy of the game to check out. He's a part of the Cast and Culture crew who worked on this game. It's part of what they call Retrotainment, is kind of their publishing label that releases new NES games. This game is significantly better than the first game they released. Not that to say that the Haunted Halloween 85 is a bad game, because that's still a lot of fun, but they've made some really good improvements, and I'll kind of dive into those improvements later on when I show you some gameplay videos. So what I'll do now is let's do an unboxing. I'll show you exactly what's included with this box. I'll leave a link below with more information in case you guys are curious and picking up your own copy or want more information about the game and other projects they're working on. I also want to note this is really cool. Haunted Halloween 85 is already on Steam, or if you prefer to play it on computer, it's already on Steam. And they also greenlit Haunted Halloween 86 recently on Steam as well, so it's coming out for Steam. Really cool. So not only is this game available for the NES, but it's also available for Steam, which I think is really killer. So without any further ado, let's take a closer look at the unboxing. I'll show you some gameplay, and let's go from there. Okay, so before I show you some gameplay, I want to just show you the production value on this game. It's really high quality, A+. Seriously, I love the orange cartridge, so unique. How often do you see an orange NES card? I think it's very cool, and it really fits the Haunted Halloween theme because this is obviously Halloween kind of focused. So very, very cool. Love the label, love the artwork. It's done in 8-bit, of course. Compare it with the first one I received last year. You see it's a little bit different. This is a gray cart. I like the label here too. It looks very retro, but they've definitely improved the controls. The story's really cool. There's 7 different levels. This game, I'll be honest, it's freaking really hard, which I think is a good thing. It's hard, but it's not like frustrating hard. So it's hard, so it brings that replay value in, but it's very, very challenging. So if you're looking for a really fun, challenging NES game, this is definitely one to check out. Here it is. These are a lot of the different enemies that you have to fight in the game. They've added a female character as well. By hitting select, you can switch to her, which gives you a little more hit points. I'll explain how that works in a second. And this guy is kind of the guy who helps you along the way. He's like the spirit who's going to help you along the way. The goal is to collect these pieces of the map, and every time you defeat a level, you get a piece of the map, and all 7 pieces add up to the whole map. Okay? Here's the back, some screenshots. Nice glossy box. And here is the instruction manual. Really nice, high quality instruction manual in color. Talk about the game itself, information about who worked on. Amazingly, only 5 people worked on this game, which most of these homebrew games are small production. I know from personal experience, and it takes a lot of work to make these games. So kudos to this team. Here's the controller layout, advanced technology, how to punch, hoist, throw. Those are all new. Special abilities. So one thing I really like about this game is they've taken a lot of what the original one had, and they've added to that, which is really cool. You have candy corn, which will give you 1 health. It's funny because I always thought that was a piece of pizza in the game, but it's actually candy corn. And candy corn will give you a health point, which restores your health. Candy bar will restore your health in full. Soda is important, gives an extra life. And pumpkin pail will actually restore health on both characters, which is great, simultaneously. So that's definitely nice. There are some pumpkin enemies, so you don't get those confused later in the game. And here is a little bit the haunts. This is the guy, different character. Here are the enemies. A lot of similar enemies from before this adult zombie was in the original one. And there's some new enemies as well. Bone, skeleton, creeper crawl. And this has got a little memo from 1986. And a journal. So let's take a closer look at the game, and let me know what you guys think. Thanks. Here it is. Retrotainment Games brings you Haunted Halloween 86. Here's the menu screen. There is an options menu where you can actually change the difficulty. I'd set this to easy because this game, even on easy mode, is really, really hard. You can play the music, which is cool, and there are continues. And the continue, the way that works is it's a password-based system, so there's no battery save space. It's just basically a password, which definitely helps because essentially you have multiple continues. There's a double jump, which I'm doing here, which is definitely new. Was not in the original one, and there are certain moves. So you can do a jump and fist pound the ground. You can do an uppercut, which is kind of fairly new. Before you could do an uppercut by hitting down and the action button. They've definitely fixed that because the controls are better in this one, and it's definitely, you don't get hit as much by using this uppercut. So they've improved that. You play as Donnie. You can also switch between Tammy. And by switching between the two characters, you can hit the select button. This game is a one-player game. It is not two-player. Perhaps the third one, Haunted Halloween 87, they'll have a two-player co-op. That'd be pretty sweet. Basically, this game is like a beat-em-up game. So if you played River City Ransom, a lot of the graphically it looks kind of similar to that. But they've added some elements of like fighting moves, which I think is definitely an upgrade. There's uppercut. You'll notice there is no HUD. There's no menu on screen. Basically, every time you get hit, you turn more green, and the greener you get, the more likely you'll turn into a zombie. There are those, which I just candy corn, which I just got, which will help me along the way, as well as soda cans will give you an extra life, which is definitely helpful and needed. You start with 5 lives. There's these boxes you can break, which give you various items, which is important. There's also a slide move, which is awesome as well, which is definitely come in handy. Some enemies I find you pretty much have to use the uppercut to defeat them, including these guys. So you can punch off their head, but what's cool is you can use it as a weapon, which is really neat. I really like the music in this game. It's actually pretty unique. And you'll see there's a lot of greens used. There's several orange color palettes used. And it definitely fits. I mean, and one thing I really liked about the first game are the various levels they had. So for example, in the first game you could fight, you start off at the school. This one, and then you go on to the mall. This one, you start kind of in the attic, in the basement, and you kind of work your way up. And eventually you get into like some retail stores, and there's some really cool items in the background. So really big kudos to what they've added. Those guys are kind of hard enemies because you can't really defeat them. You can knock them to the ground. They're like centipede-looking dudes. One thing that's kind of challenging about this game, I find, is every once in a while, it's hard to know which platform to jump on. There's kind of so many platforms in the foreground and all that good stuff. It's kind of hard to know what to hit. And there's occasionally when you're like talking to every once in a while, there's like a story mode that appears in the game, and you basically talk to like this ghost who's helping along the way. But you can still get hit by enemies. There, I just died there. But you can still get hit by enemies even though you're talking to these guys. So that's just minor things. Overall, it's a really fun game. It did take me a while with these bosses. Every level has a boss battle. Here's one of them. And it took me a while to figure out the pattern. So they are pattern-based boss battles, like many classic NES games. But it took me a while to figure out how to necessarily hit these guys. What attack move do I need to hit the enemy, and all that good stuff. One thing that's really cool about this game is if I'm getting hit by playing Donnie, I can actually hit select and start off with Tammy and choose fresh. So basically, I think it's like 5 or so hits. So basically you have 10 hits before you die, which definitely will come in handy. If you get the pumpkin, it will actually increase both people's health, which is definitely much needed. But those are pretty far and few between, especially later in the game. You don't see as many power upgrades, so to speak. This particular boss battle was super challenging. Here's like an auto-scroll level, and this kind of gets challenging as well because you don't really know when the enemies are going to fly, come from when. And towards the later part of the game, I kind of found myself, here's what I was kind of talking about platforms. It's kind of dark, but later on in the game, I kind of find myself kind of skipping through a lot of the enemies because you don't necessarily have to, like a lot of beat up, so you have to beat the enemy before you continue. In this game, you don't necessarily have to do the case, so kind of find myself avoiding a lot of the enemies because there is no point system in this game, so there's really no incentive to get points or anything like that. But it's try to stay alive, basically survival for fittest, I guess. Trying to stay alive. And these bats or these crows, they're kind of hard to see in the dark image, but it's all good. I love the horizon. I think graphically the game looks really, really good. You also have to watch out for these drops come out from the top, these slime drops. And if you jump and hit the ceiling, in this particular stage, you will actually, in that case right there, I got hit. Each character, both Donnie and Tammy, have different abilities to attack abilities, which is unique. Here's I'm switching between 2 by hitting select. See, I start fresh here. As I mentioned before, this game is super challenging, but it's not like frustrating challenging. I didn't get like rage quit on this game by all means because it's actually really fun. Between the music and the graphics, it really reminds me of an old school game. I think it's really cool that you're kind of bringing the 8-bit graphics back in the music. Here's a guy coming along the way to help you out every once in a while through when you end a stage, he'll talk to you and kind of explain what's going on. Even the subtle things with the wind blowing, the leaves, it's a very, very nice touch. And the moon looks really cool. So right now, I'm one more hit, I'm pretty much dead. These are pumpkins that will jump up, so you have to kind of be careful here. It's all about timing. See, double jump. Double jump is definitely a nice feature as well. That was not in the first one. And definitely comes in handy. Watch out for the random claws. Oh, so you just died. Here's one of my favorite levels, and this is kind of old electronics store from the 80s. With these televisions, you actually can break them. Apple II computers. I love the classic Nintendo sign, the World Nintendo sign that is obviously broken, so it doesn't say the whole word. But very subtle things like that are pretty funny. They've included a lot of 80s references, hence because this game takes place in 1986. Very, very nice touch. Overall, I highly recommend this game if you're a fan of the NES. I think you will really enjoy it. It's a really fun beat 'em up. It's a fun platforming game as well. It's got some elements of it that those are some very classic NES games should have, including the music, the graphics, and gameplay. It's a very solid game, and definitely check it out. Put a link below with more information. Encourage you guys to check it out. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Take care, and of course, game on.